Uh, for me, restitution is uh, is a process that it's a process of humanization. Um, it has, of course, a strong cultural component, but it's much more than that. That only um, kind of repairing a cultural imbalance. It's more important because it also questions our humanity. It questions um, how we want to project ourselves, how we want to make humanity better for the next generation. I think restitution is the, the best process is based on dialogue. How can we speak to each other on terms that allows mutual understanding? How can we dare pointing out problematic issues like wounds from the past, and how can we dare going beyond it and position ourselves as a common humanity. Um, so I think restitution has also so sometimes I also see that it's not only like if it's even beyond the human being, it's also touch the non-human, because of course when we check on the collection, how the collection was acquired, there was a huge extraction. Not only object was taken, but human remains were taken, natural resources was taken, specimens of plants, of animals. So it's actually questioning everything that makes sense around us. And of course, we most of the time try to separate what was taken for which reason has been put labelized like cultural, scientific, but at the beginning it was not that. So restitution is a holistic question that can also question how we as human we also position ourselves on earth, and it also question our uh, extractive behaviors. There's a lot of theory that has been going through about what a museum is, and so in the 90s there was this question of questioning the museum as a contact zone. So there was all those scholars that was questioning museum as a contact zone where different communities, different social classes can mix and discuss and create that dialogue. And that was also criticized as it's something that is quite, how can I say, romanticizing and neglecting the very strong power that the institutions has, and not touching enough the daily life of people. But I personally think that we need a lot of zones of contact. And when I came to Palermo and discussing with people from Studio Rizoma, I understand that there's a potential of this contact zone as a principle not only to be implemented in the context of an institution like a museum, because we not all agree that this is not a place, but in the context of a city, in a context where people put their daily life meanings and means for life together and try to build a common grounds, common space, common public space, common city, common citizenship. Um, I think that's what I'm interested in for Palermo. I'm really interested in on how we can kind of deinstitutionalize this question of contact zone and like study it and activating it as a daily practice with artists, with communities, with activists. And maybe that's maybe from the very beginning, from the even not 24 hours of my presence in Palermo, that's what I'm inspired by. politicians want to have kind of view of the transformation, sell it to the people. But I think as art practitioners, we focus on smaller change, and we also believe in the aggregation of those smaller changes. And I cannot guarantee how big the aggregation can be, how many people can change through a discussion on restitution or discussion on how to live together. But I can guarantee that the quality, the depth of the conversation will change at least the two persons getting into the dialogue, and change them deeply enough to make it contagious. To how many people, I don't know, but that's the commitment we have.